Hey there! Welcome to the film. So, I've been getting a lot of questions from all of you about the same sort of thing, so I figure, well, might as well just answer them all here. So, how did I get here? By plane. No, seriously. How did I get here? Well, there was a long process by which I had to fill out my immigration form. This was back in August. Up until then, it was about a month-long process to get all the information together. They asked lots of questions and had to fill out lots of forms and give lots of background information. The main thing they wanted to know was, did Rebecca and I, despite being married, have a genuine and stable relationship? So I had to go about proving that through photos and bills that were in both our names and our apartment lease and this, that, and the other. Long story short, I ended up submitting about 1,200 pages, and I'm not joking, about 1,200 pages worth of documentation to say that Rebecca and I are a couple, and we live together, and we love each other, and we're committed, despite being together as a couple for over 10 years. Anyway, so then that came. So then how did I get here to New Zealand? Okay, well, New Zealand is taking the COVID crisis very seriously. Once my visa had been approved, the first step was to contact the Manage and Quarantine, the MIQ you keep hearing me talk about. MIQ is the program that's being run by the New Zealand government and assisted also by the New Zealand military for the managed in isolation and quarantine. So I had to go to the MIQ website and I had to sign up for a time period that was available. So basically they had to know I was coming. Once I had picked a date that was available, they gave me 48 hours to book my plane flight. And once I booked my plane flight, then I had to go back to the MIQ website and put in, here's the plane, here's my confirmation number, here's when I'm arriving, here's my ultimate destination. So once I had that, then I was okay, and about a couple days later, they sent me a notice saying, you're good to go. We have you listed as coming in on this date, and we'll be putting you up in a facility. I didn't know where I was going to be until I got here. 9 times out of 10, when you land here in Auckland for this, you stay in Auckland, but there is a chance, depending on where you're going to end up, that you could be in a different city. There was a chance I could have been in Wellington. There was even a slim chance maybe I could have been in Christchurch, but I wouldn't have really known until I got here. Luckily, I'm here in Auckland, and I'm at the Crown Plaza Hotel, which is, curiously enough, where Rebecca stayed when she came out in November. So then how does it work with me being here? So I'm in my hotel room, and I cannot leave my hotel room basically under any circumstances other than when I have booked time to go to the outside areas. So how does that work? Okay, well, on day 1 or day 0, depending on how you want to look at it, how you want to do the maths, the first day I arrived, we'll call it that. The first day I arrived, I had to do a COVID test. Once that came back negative, I was given a blue band like this that I'm supposed to wear on my wrist that proves I've had one COVID test and it has come back negative. So now I'm not dirty, filthy, and I can be trusted to go outside. So if I want to go outside to either the 4th floor or I think it's the 12th floor outside areas, I have to call ahead and book time, mask up, depending on which floor it is. I think the 4th floor, which is really ground level, so it's extra confusing, is I think 30 minutes, and then I have to come back up. And then I think the 12th floor is an hour, but less people I think are allowed on the 12th floor. Go figure. Anyway, so that's the only time I'm allowed out. Other than that, I am here in my hotel room doing all the things I need to do. I'm doing work, doing these videos. I've had my second COVID test, which came back negative. So I've got one more to go, and I believe that will be done on day 12 of my stay here. Once that's clear, then I will be released on August 2nd. At that point, early, sometime in the morning, I'll have to have all my stuff packed up. They'll help me take it down. They'll put me on a bus. They will take me back to the airport, back to Auckland Airport, Auckland International. And I will catch a flight from there to Christchurch. And then Rebecca will drive up from Timaru to Christchurch, come pick me up. And we will drive approximately 2 hours back down to Timaru, where I will be home and I will sort of stay quasi in quarantine for another week. That's what they want me to do, is not really go anywhere I don't have to, which is fine. I've taken that whole week off from work, so that whole week I can just chill, get acclimatized, unpack boxes, things like that. How is this getting paid for? That's a good question. As a New Zealand resident, there is a possibility I won't have to pay, but there's also a possibility I will have to pay. When Rebecca came in November, she didn't have to pay because she's a New Zealand citizen. Why would they charge New Zealand citizens? And she had been gone long enough that she didn't have to pay. I still don't know if I will have to pay or not. I'm going to assume I will. Even though I'm now a New Zealand resident, I'm assuming I will have to pay, and that's fine. I had already prepared myself for that. In the paperwork they gave me, my little welcome pack, there is a little note on top. The first thing you see is about payment. If I have to pay, I will be sent an invoice and I will pay. I think it's $3,100 New Zealand. You have to do the math to figure out how many dollars that is at any given moment. But that's the cost of doing business, and that's the cost of New Zealand having less than like 5 cases, I think, in the wild of COVID. They are taking this very seriously, and I'm fully in support of that. All my joking aside about the brain probe and all of that in my previous videos, they're taking this very seriously, and so am I. I fully support what they're doing, and if I need to pay, fine. It's part of doing business. So hopefully this has answered most of your questions. A lot of you have been asking me these questions, and I've been trying to answer on Facebook, but I figured it'd be just easier just to do this silly little movie and answer all of your questions. If you got any more, ping me. Happy to answer. Until then, we'll see you.